And good afternoon and welcome to the first of the Brisca Formula 1 winter driver chat interviews. We're here in Longridge, Preston with Sam Makim, number 93, who has kindly agreed to have a chat with us just to give us an idea of his racing history, his plans for the year, what work is going to be done on the vehicle over the winter, just to show some of you guys exactly what goes into looking after the car during the winter. We'll have a look at his results from last year as well, and ask what his plans are going to be for the coming season as well. So as you can see, we're here at his workshop at Longridge in Preston. To some other here as well. There's a couple up the top. I don't know if you can just see them near the back. And there's another heritage behind one of the trucks, which we'll have a look around the workshop in a moment with Sam. But we'll just go a quick word with Sam first of all then. So good afternoon, Sam. First of all, thank you very much for agreeing to being the guinea pig in the first one of the winter chats.
No worries. Good to have you here. Tell people what we do. Just do my best to try and keep my words in, you know. It's a bit difficult not being in front of the camera, but we'll get used to it hopefully as we go along.
Brilliant. Well, just be yourself, mate, and just relax, and we'll certainly make this as easy as possible for you, of course. So first of all then, for people who don't know you, if you could just give us a rough overview of your racing prior to coming to F1.
Well, before we raced F1, what have we done? We used to race at Wharton up at near Carnforth. Raced there from 2005 to 2009, I think it was, at Minis. I think we were red top for 3 of the seasons out of 4, which was all right. You know, there used to be a good few cars there. I don't know what it's like now. We haven't been for a while. We're busy with this thing, but and then we didn't do anything for a while. Then we decided to buy. My dad decided to build a Jimmy Saw heritage car.
Okay.
Done that it took him about 3 years to build it, and then I think he raced it for a year, and then we heard about the Wayman car being up for sale. Mm-hmm. Bought that in I think that was November, not last year, the year before, and raced that not last year, the year before. Sorry, yes, it was about 2 years we've had it.
Okay.
Raced that, and then we thought started working away a lot and not we don't just spend the money on, so I thought we might as well spend it on this.
Yes.
And so we got talking to Andy Tunner, who's got an heritage car.
Yeah.
Races the Golden Years occasionally, and he said that this car was for sale, and we thought, you know, any car to start off with, it had a decent pedigree and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we bought it, saved up for about 6 months for an engine, and got it off Matt. And it's not been a problem since, you know, and that's where we're up to now.
That's where you're up to. Yeah. Excellent. And then just going back to back at Wharton, that was the Outlaw stock cars, which they're similar to F2, aren't they?
Yeah, the stock cars are similar to F2. I raced just minis, and my dad used to race super bangers.
Ah, right.
Which was sort of like armoured up cars, really. They're I can't remember what people would know them as around the country, but they just used to be known as super bangers up at Wharton. He was gold top a few times, silver top. Did all right, really. And then we packed up with that. And again, we didn't do anything for a few years until he went to watch the heritage cars. Mm-hmm. Fancied a go at that, and we used to go watching quite often. But then we thought we'd bite the bullet.
Right.
And that's we've gone.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I was up at Wharton myself actually last year. I do go when we're not racing for the F1s, and to be honest, yeah, the car numbers have dropped unfortunately, but some of the stock cars he had there were pretty weird, weren't they? I think I saw one with a Chevy in a Formula 2 size stock car, yeah, which was weird.
There's been some odd concoctions at Wharton. It seems to be a test ground. It's always done us well when we went there, you know, and it's good to just have, you know, a little bit of local track and a local feel to it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a welcoming place. It always has been. I've not been for a few years, but a few of my mates still race there and enjoy it. So, you know, local clubs are important, aren't they? Just to get you started, and then you go to the next level. You know, we've skipped a few steps. We should have done or not, I don't know, but we'll give it our best.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask you. The usual sort of journey through from the younger formulas is to go to maybe Formula 2s or V8s or mod stocks. Jumping in both feet into Formula 1 is quite an undertaking, isn't it?
Yeah, it was daunting when we started. I think we're slowly getting used to it. You look at people like Joe Nichols and Jake. Jake's, they've both come through from V8s, and you can tell it's sort of in good stead for, just jumping in and going straight away. But we're slowly getting there. I think a lot of it's seat time, and obviously just doing the shale, you don't get the practice beforehand in the meetings. But from what we've done, pretty happy. We've not been trailed off every week, and having it in pieces. We've had a few decent crashes in that, but we've mainly stayed out of the way and just tried to keep, getting the laps in, and if we can get a bit of clear track and get learning, that's what we'll try and do.
Excellent. And did you have any history with Formula 1 before you actually started racing? Did you watch a lot, or any of your family been connected to Formula 1 at all?
We've never raced anything to do with Formula 1 before. We've always been to watch. My dad and granddad used to race sidecars. They raced them for a good few years, so he was never interested in stock car racing. And about 1990 they went up to Wharton. My dad and his boss at the time, they went up to Wharton and raced bangers for a bit. Then my dad started on his own, so he didn't race for a long while then. And then after that, about a foot and mile time it was. It was 2002, was it? Something like that.
Yeah.
We went up the season before that. We went up to watch, and then my father thought we'll have a go at that. And then obviously foot and mouth, so we missed that year. I think 2003 he raced, so he raced there for about 10 years, I think it was. And like I say, he did all right, and it stood us in good stead, and we've not really got away from oval sport since.
Excellent. Well, we've got quite a good number of people watching at the moment, so if anybody who's watching has got any questions for Sam, just send us a message and we'll try and read those out to him. What we'll do now, if it's all right with Sam, is just have a look around the car and just show some of you people who maybe don't know what goes on during the winter, exactly what happens to a vehicle. So as you can probably all remember, when the cars were coming off the track at the end of the last meeting, full cars, panels on everything, and so if we just turn the camera to how it looks now, we are just looking at a shell, basically. So when did you start actually working on the car for this winter?
We broke the back axle at Northampton, the last Northampton. So after that, we thought we might as well start stripping it down and make a good start. My dad's got a hernia operation, so he's going to be out of action for a month. So I thought we're going to have to rush around for a bit, get an early start, and then make up for the time that we're going to lose. So we started the week after, I think. We had the engine out, and front and back axle out by the time it was Bellevue. So we were a bit ahead of the game then. And then a couple of weeks ago, I went down to Harrison's, put the 9-inch Ford in the back of it, and we've gone for 4-link front and back. So hopefully, no excuses this year really, apart from my lack of experience.
Well, if it's all right with you, if you want to just take us around the car and just let us know, again, for those that may not be technically know about the vehicles, what the 4-link means, etc. So if that's okay, if we start at the back of the car and just point out some things to us, if you wouldn't mind.
I mean, you've got your link brackets there and there for your top and bottom. It makes the back axle a bit freer. I mean, we'll see how it does for us. It'll be a bit different to 2-link. Being freer and whatnot, and then we've got rid of the torsion bars, which last year we did all right with them, but nobody else uses them, so we couldn't get information off anyone else. So with lack of experience and lack of knowledge, really, we thought, we'll go back to shockers and springs, and then we've kept all the torsion bar stuff. If we do decide to ever go back to it, it's all upstairs in corner. So we'll see what it's like next year. Hopefully, like I say, with Ryan's hard work and that, we went down and got it done in a few days, and it looks, to me, it looks a lot better. It looks nice, and it's hopefully it'll just we'll do it justice, really, yeah.
Excellent. And then, is there anything that's come out at the AGM that you've had to change on the car? Any new rules or any sort of tweaks of the rules at all this year?
As far as I'm aware, I didn't go because I was actually at work that night. As far as I'm aware, there's nothing we've had to change because of the AGM. We've obviously got to buy the new MSD box, which everyone has to buy, so
Yeah.
you know, that's something else to pay for, but if it keeps everyone happy, then that's what everyone will have to do, innit? So.
And if we could just start walking around towards the front, there seems to be something quite important missing from the car. So where's the engine?
The engine's upstairs at the minute. We're not actually doing anything with it this year because it was new from Matt at the end of last year. We've definitely not been testing the limits of it because we're not the quickest, but we'll try and get a bit faster next year. So that's just upstairs. And then we've gone for the 4-link on the front as well. Again, a bit freer and a bit more adjustable, a bit easier to adjust, a bit quicker to when we probably rip a front axle out, a bit easier to change it.
Yep.
But like I say, we've not tried it yet. Hopefully, with a bit of knowledge and a bit of help from Harrison's and and anyone else who's helped us as we've gone along. We'll do all right, we got up to yellow top, and we'll hopefully this year be able to get back up to yellow top and stay there for a bit longer, or hopefully all season. That'd be a nice goal to achieve.
Yeah. And can I ask you what your thoughts on the tyre situation is? Because as you know, I'm a mechanic with Nigel, and his thoughts are that we have too many tyres. I think it's a different tyre for each corner, I believe. So what's your thoughts?
Again, not being so knowledgeable, but I'd say personally, I can understand why they have to change all the rules on. I mean, as tarmac doesn't affect us as much because we've only done a couple of meetings, but having to have all them different wheels, and you go from an 8-inch wheel on the back inside on shale to 10-inch on tarmac, that's another cost. And to me, if they leave this tyre, the rally tyre on the inside rear, that's happy by me. It's cheap for me especially, and possibly for a lot of lower graders it's cheaper. The American races are good. As far as I've never raced with anything else. They seem all right to me. It just seems a little bit more expensive with the American racer inside rear than with the shale tyre, but I can't speak from experience because I've not done a lot of tarmac, and there's a lot of people a lot more knowledgeable than me out there who have a bit more of an idea of what everyone's got the good of the sport at heart, which everyone on the committee and that they have an hard job trying to juggle everything, don't they? So everyone's in a different, but it's what you can it costs as much as you make it cost.
Yeah.
If you want to race an old big block, standard big block, and have a go, that's fair enough. Or if you want to spend however much you want on a fancy small block or a fancy big block, if you want, it is the pinnacle, isn't it? So it's not going to be cheap.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And I know a lot of people say it's not a working man sport, but I'm a working man, and I have just bought an house. Not a mansion, obviously, but we get by. We're lucky with this place. It's a big place, and I have a lot of respect for people who just have the car in the garage at home.
Yes.
And and it's freezing cold in winter, and you've not got much, not got a lot of space. You're having to sneak past everything, and here we're very lucky because it's parked in the middle of the garage. It doesn't very rarely has to be moved, and like I say, we're just lucky, and I have a lot of respect for everyone who just does it in the garage at home and has to struggle along, with it's just like buying stuff like grinding discs and stuff, all that adds up. And we're very lucky in the fact that we can do that stuff here, as well as having the other two cars here, and then we've got a guest car at the minute.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to just go on to what your plans are for the coming season for 2019. Obviously, this is the shale car. What's your thoughts on the tarmac side of it? Is it a case where you're not too bothered at the moment. You just want to get used to the sports before you start going on the tarmac as more than you did, because I think you only did a couple of meetings last year on tarmac. So is it case it's like what I say, shells for racing, tarmacs for getting there, sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm of that opinion. Obviously, everyone enjoys something different, and that's the good thing about it. I much prefer shale.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot harder work. Obviously, the cars are a lot more unpredictable than that on shale. You know, I've only raced at Birmingham, I think, twice. I think that's all. And we did Skegness World Final night. We went on the. It's hard to be getting on the pace when you look at how fast people are going on tarmac.
Yeah.
Just to jump in, you know, shale is a lot more unpredictable. It's hard work, and it's easy to get a lot of damage. But we've been lucky in respect of not getting huge amounts of damage every week. We've had a couple of big damage incidents, but apart from that, we've done all right really. We've just kept ourselves out of trouble, kept our noses clean, and tried to not make any enemies. You know, at the start of the race, we'll just try and get going rather than piling in, and get a couple of laps under our belt, and then hopefully get into a rhythm. But it's difficult. You know, there's that many people just wanting to be like a bull in a china shop.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's the joys of the sport. It's part of the fun in it. You know, you never know what's going to happen once that gate closes. So.
Yeah. And looking at the results that you've had for the 2018 season, you can see that your best result was a Grand National at Northampton, which is, I think, by the time we had the last meeting at Northampton, the track was finally coming good. I think it was something Dean had to change because the track needed relaying anyway, and everyone was saying it needed changing at Northampton because the racing was getting a bit boring, I think some people were saying. So it seems to hopefully going to be working for a new decent shell track for 2019 at Northampton.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand both sides. You know, the tarmac races obviously lost a good track for them. Shale races have got a new track. I found it enjoyable when we've gone. Obviously, they've had the teething problems, but that's all part of it, isn't it? You know, it's never going to be perfect at the start.
No.
It's very difficult, especially with the weather we've got. Obviously, I think the meeting that we got the 5th in, that was when it was a dust bowl, but you know, it was coming too. And at the European, they were very unlucky with the weather. The Saturday night was brilliant. A couple of times we have come off the track feeling a bit seasick with the bumps, but it's just got better and better. And last meeting we went, the car wasn't great with the back axle. It slightly cracked and it was leaking slightly onto the brake disc. We hadn't noticed that, so I couldn't tell you exactly how it was driving because I weren't driving it as we should have done. But
right, yeah.
It seems to be a lot better. You know, it's good to have another shale track. You know, there's no tracks apart from Bellevue really right close to us, but you know, Kings Lynn is a brilliant track. It's fast. The wall's hard. I'll give it that. But you know, Northampton could be, you know, it'd be good to have it as a Saturday night place. You know, Sundays are a bit harder for racing, aren't they? With everyone having stuff to do on the Monday, but yeah, we like a good Saturday night race at Northampton. It's been good, and by the looks of it, there's a couple of weekenders next year, and that makes it a lot easier with a lot less travelling. You know, it's a lot. Diesel's a big killer. You know, the price of diesel. You know, going down to Kings Lynn is 400 miles for us round trip. You know, I like to take my hat off to Matt. You know, the amount of mileage he does, and you know, everyone. You know, people who come from Scotland, and you know, you look at likes of Gordon Moody and what his diesel bill must be at the end of the season. You've got to take your hat off to him, and you know, like I say, with the whole being here, you got everyone who struggles along and scrapes every penny together. You know, we can't do every meeting. We'd like to, you know, we'd like to do every shale and tarmac meeting, but we just can't afford it.
Of course, yeah.
But if you can, it's brilliant, you know.
And plans on Middle and all?
We could possibly go, dependent if the car's ready. It should be. I won't be going to Kings Lynn at the start of the season. I've got a wedding to go to.
No dedication then, have you?
I wish, but the girlfriend would kill us if it was off. So hopefully, I wouldn't mind going to Milden Hall. You know, it's a bit of an unknown for nearly every. You know, a lot of people went last year, but they've only been once. It's a bit of an unknown for you know, people who haven't ever been before. So you know, we enjoyed new tracks and new experiences, and it's good to see you know, another new track. I don't know how many dates they've got next year, whether it's just one or...
I think they've got the 2.
Yeah.
Because I went last year, because that was the first time I've ever been, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was good old-fashioned, old-school stock car racing. It wasn't just about speed. It was about trying to get the bumper in and get past, so it was brilliant. So I think it's probably somewhere the drivers will enjoy it. Again, it's another one where Dean is working on a shell trap, which he's not used to. So hopefully it should be a cracking little couple of meetings that I think we've got there. I think one of them's a qualifier as well, which will get the drivers down, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to take your hat off to Dean with his, you know, his attempts at Northampton and at Milden Hall, taking over from that. That's, if he hadn't saved that, you know, that could have possibly been another track gone. And it's good to just have it there. Never, you know, if the F1s don't race there often, or if they do, you know, it's good to just have another track there. It's like, well, the loss of Coventry obviously has been a big effect on a lot of people. We never raced there with this car. We raced there in the old Heritage car, so we can at least say we've raced there.
Yeah.
You know, it was brilliant. But if we can, you know, have Milden Hall and a couple of other guest tracks possibly, whether they be tarmac or shale, I don't know every track in the country, but it's good to have some new tracks. You know, a bit of variation and an unknown for everyone, isn't it? You know, the first few times that everybody goes, everyone's trying different things, and one person can be one end of the spectrum and the other can be another, you know, and that's the beauty of it.
Right. And just if you wouldn't mind just having I believe we have got a couple of Heritage cars in the workshop at the moment. Would you mind if we have a quick look at the Heritage car that's in the corner?
Yeah, we can have
a quick nosy of that. So yeah, as you can see, there's plenty of room for Sam and his mechanics to work here. Got the old ramps and things as well, which also all helps. And then tucked away in the corner, we've got one of the Heritage cars that's stored here. So just give us a bit of a history about this one.
This is the Jim Esau Heritage car. The dates of when it was first built on the back, and Jeff was the last person that raced it. You know, Jeff Nichols has helped us quite a lot with a bit of advice and stuff, and Joe as well. So this was, my dad built this, I think it was 5 years ago possibly, and he built it from scratch. It's got an old Oldsmobile engine in back, well, you know, in front, and it's, you'll see it whenever you go to Buxton and they're on, it'll be usually smoking back wheels. So my dad likes to drive like a bit of a hooligan, no throttle control, but you know, I mean, some people don't like them, they're not everyone's cup of tea. But if it weren't for Heritage cars, I probably wouldn't have taken the plunge, you know, of having, you know, that little bit of adrenaline, and then you think, you know, well, let's just have a proper go. So, you know, they're good. Like I say, they've been a good little stepping stone for us and a good bit of fun. You know, F1 sometimes can be a bit serious, especially when you get to, you know, the business end of the sport with, you know, the top boys. You know, it can take over their lives. So it's good to have just something that's a bit more fun on occasion. Like, you know, we missed Stoke last year to race the Heritage car.
Right. Yeah.
You know, just for a bit of fun in it. They're brilliant. You know.
Right, we have had the question in actually. Ryan Harrison's watching at the moment, and I think the question that Ryan has sent is a very serious question actually. Asking me if he's had his hair cut.
especially had it cut. I thought I can't come on here looking all scruffy like usual. So I had my hair cut. It works do as well last night, but I made sure not to drink too much.
Oh, brilliant!
Because we're obviously quite busy with the car and stuff, but. But yeah, I thought I'll make a bit of an attempt at looking a bit smarter than in the middle of the season.
I'd just like to thank Ryan for the very serious question there. I don't know if you want to answer that, and we'll just have a quick walk around.
It is Ryan.
Is it Ryan? Yeah. Is it? All right, get off the phone, Ryan. We're not finished yet. Come on, this is live. So yeah, cheers for that. Any more questions? If anybody's got any, please do quickly let us know, because we don't want to take too much time of Sam's at all, because as you can tell, he's got work to do on the vehicle. So your plans for the coming season then? Is it, as we're saying, it's more about the shale side of it, of course.
Yeah.
I think tracks like Kings Lynn and Star Tracks are doing the whites and yellows sort of championship type races, which all helps, doesn't it, to allow the lower graders to get the laps in without the star lads piling into you, sort of thing.
The whites and yellows races are brilliant. You know, I know it's an extra race and that, but we enjoy it. You know, most of us enjoy it. It's good to just get a bit more track time. You know, especially when you're first starting out, it's hard work. So just to get them extra few laps in, you know, it's really it's appreciated that they run them. Obviously, Kingsland gets a good amount of cars, and Bellevue quite often does do it. It sometimes suffers just from the Sunday fixtures, but you know, like I say, it's brilliant to have the whites and yellows races just to get a bit more time on track. Like you say, without the reds coming through like a train, and you know, the speed of some of them is unbelievable. You know, last year I remember Tom Harris coming past on the limiter flat out, you know, absolutely flying, and you think we're a bit off that just yet, but you know, Tom and Ryan and Frank and Matt, you know, they're all absolutely flying, and Stuart, you know, they're all fast, and obviously they've been at it a while. You know, everyone aims to be up there. It's, you know, and I take the hat off to Frank. You know, he's not got fortunes to throw at it, and he's running a lot of cars, and I've got to say, you know, he does really well.
Yeah.
You know, and Matt, with the amount of time that they've got, you know, just running all those cars, you know, it sends most people mad, you know, but they must absolutely love it, you know. Sometimes my dad gets a bit sick and tired of coming in, you know. We put new seating in the middle of the season. Yeah. We had a few choice words then, because I just decided to already cut the old frame out, so we had to do it then, and we weren't the happiest, but you know, you've got to take your hat off to some of them. It's an absolute way of life, you know. You know, we enjoy it, and like I say, with Tom and Ryan racing in the States, you know, you watch Tom and you can tell that he's picked up a good few tips over there, and the way he drives and that, you know, you know, everyone, whether you know, me or someone like that, you know, we all enjoy it and love it, so you have to, you know, you have to really love it. So.
Yeah, it's in the blood. Once it gets in your blood, you've got to be there, hasn't it, to put the dedication in that's needed to look after these cars.
Oh yeah. I mean, we bought my house in September, and there's still no plaster on walls or anything like that, because we've been busy with it.
Busy on this.
So still living at my girlfriend's, but you know, it does take a lot of time up, and a lot of people, you know, don't see how much time it takes. It's you know, a lot of people just see you load it up and it's gone. You know, they don't see you spending the next 2 weeks, you know, fixing it, and you know, after work especially, you know, it's all right if you're on a 9-to-5 job, but you know, working nights and working away and stuff like that, you know, you struggle for time. So it's nice to sometimes have a damage-free meeting with just having to go around and check it. You know, some meetings can be rough, and you can quite often tell the tone of what it's going to be in the first race or whatever. But you know, we've like I say, kept out of trouble mainly, and just kept going.
Brilliant. And then we're going to be letting you go now, because like I said, you've got a lot of work to do. Just let me know who's in your team. So we've got your dad, and who else helps you out at meetings?
There's my dad. I'm very grateful to. You know, he's busy with us every weekend, and quite often a few nights. Girlfriend comes along. She sometimes makes a brew. You know, she don't mind getting her hands dirty and scraping car off and stuff like that. She's obviously not a mechanic, but anything, you know, she comes and helps us. We've got another fellow called Brian. He helps us. You know, just having pairs of hands. You know, with me and my dad have just been to a few meetings on our own, and it's, you know, there's a lot of rushing around, and if you get a good bit of damage, it's hard work. We've got Dave. He's another fellow who comes and helps us. Another one of my dad's mates. He helps us with a bit of sponsorship and a bit of stuff like that. And we've got a couple of people who appear every now and again, you know, that when they can. You know, a lot of people, like I say, it takes up a lot of time. So, you know, my stepbrother's helped us a few times. My my brother-in-law, or future brother-in-law. He's helped us, you know, last year he helped us in winter. You know, like I say, if you could get a couple of other people helping, it's brilliant. And obviously, it just makes it a lot quicker and a lot more enjoyable. You know, I have a bit more of a laugh with a few more people. And this year we've got to know a lot of people. You know, when we first started, it were a bit sheepish. You know, but everyone, you know, everyone's really welcoming. You know, everyone does what they can to get you out there. And I remember we went to Stoke and we put the belts in wrong. And luckily we brought the other clips and we could clip it in right. But I remember Danny Wayman offering to cut his belts up and give us his spare belts and give us the hoops that would you know, allowed us to race. You know, and like I say, Ryan's been a brilliant help for us. He might look a grumpy guy, but when you get to know him, you know, he's a good help and he's helped us, like I say, a lot.
Yeah, he's not a bad lad, is he really?
No, he looks grumpy sometimes, but you know, he's a good lad when you get to know him, and he's always, you know, you can take people how you find him, and I know a lot of people aren't big fans of him, whether it's because of his driving style or what, but like I say, we've been on the receiving end of it a couple of times, and you know, he's helped us out a lot. So you know, we can't say anything bad about anyone that we've come across. You know.
Well, I think I've said this hundreds of times, but in our sport, it is an overall family, isn't it? Some sports you don't see the drivers talking to each other, especially that F1 on TV. They're just so secretive, and it's just boring, isn't it? But with our sport, everybody helps everybody out just to get more cars out on track, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we've you know, we've really enjoyed it, getting to know all the people. You know, we didn't go to the AJ, you know, well, to the dinner dance. Sorry, we were a bit busy and we hadn't got tickets and that. But next year I think we could go, and you know, it'd be good to get to know everyone next year as well. You know, a bit better. You know, we've not been at it a long time, and we've not obviously known people beforehand. You know, there's people who've been racing for 30 years, or the dads have been racing. They already know everyone, and you know. But like I say, everyone's, you know, been right friendly, and we've not had any issues with anyone. And you know, like you say, you see rivalries and stuff, and we're nowhere near that stage. But you know, you can still have issues with people, and we've not had any. You know, everyone's been great with us. You know, and you know, a lot of people, they just leave you alone. You know, you know, Red Tops, a lot of them don't just pile into you and that. You know, they just let you run your race. You let them past. Yeah. Or you know, if you're fast enough, you might have a little bit of a tussle with him. But a lot of the time, if they've caught you up in 2 laps, there's no point messing around with them, because you know, you can try and follow them and get it, you know, and learn what they're doing. Yeah. And if you can get a bit of speed from watching them, even if I've done it a few times with a few superstars who've come past, and I thought, right, I'll try and follow them, and quarter of a lap later they're gone. But you know, you've got to take your hat off to them, and we'll try and one day be at that point. You know. Brilliant.
And just before we let you go then, so any sponsors you'd like to thank, or do you want to put a plug in for some sponsorship if anybody wants to throw some your way?
Well, everyone's more than welcome to throw some money in the pot, and they can have a sticker on Car and Wagon, you know. You know, we're great. We've got my boss, Derek, he's sponsored us a few quid, Jewish Airfield Services, which won't mean a lot to a lot of people, because not a lot of people have their own private runway, but you know, he's helped us out, and Dave Newby helped us out at Rural Valley Tyres. My dad helps us out a huge amount. You know, it's not the cheapest sport. He puts the diesel in the wagon every week, and you know, we split it so that I pay for the car, he pays for the wagon, and you know, at the end of the day, he's not driving it, is he? So he don't get the full enjoyment out of it. So it makes sense for it to be a bit more expensive for me. And we've got Gary Fox. He sponsored us. He used to race a few years ago. He sponsors a couple of quid, and if we get a win this year, he'll sponsor us a bit more, he said. So brilliant. If anyone wants to let me win, that's fine. I'll split it with them.
Split it, yeah. Brilliant.
But yeah, any sponsors who wanted to come aboard, you know, just message us, and if you are interested, just give us a shout, and we'll be more than accommodating. You know, like I say, it isn't the cheapest sport, but it's the pinnacle. So you know, it's never going to cost nothing. So.
And Ryan, being Ryan, there's also again put another comment in. Don't forget him, Princess. Is that some sort of nickname between you or something?
Well, yeah, that's driving like a princess at the start of the year. That you know,
brilliant.
But yeah, and Harrison's especially. You know, Harrison Supplies, they've helped us out. That Murray sponsored us a couple of wheels. You know, everything that you get helps. all of his time when we went down and did the car. You know, even we went down and everything. They're not the cheapest to buy it, but everything they have is decent. There's no messing around with crap, which is one of our bugbears. You buy something in it and it's not as good as what it should have been.
Fit for purpose. Yeah.
It might be 30 quid cheaper, but you might as well put it in the bin as soon as you bought it.
Yeah.
So, Murray's been fair with us with everything, and like I say, everyone helps, and if it wasn't for the lower graders and that, there possibly wouldn't be a sport, really, would it? Nobody'd really enjoy watching 10 of the fastest lads just going round, and that's what makes stock car racing.
Brilliant. Well, I'd just like to thank you very much for your time. You've let a stranger into your workshop, which is brilliant, and we do really appreciate it. Some of the likes we're getting on Facebook is massive, so I think the fans are appreciating your time as well. So we do really do appreciate that. So I'm going to let you get back to work. I can see you've got a bit there. So I'm just going to finish off by just letting people know of who we're going to be getting in the future over the next few weeks. So we're going to be talking to the Waymans when I get over there, Austin Moore, Nigel Harry, Lee Fairhurst as well. So he'll be coming in over the next 2 or 3 months. We won't be doing any more now before Christmas, so probably January time, maybe first couple of weeks of January. Just forgot someone there. So anyone else you want to mention? Sorry.
Yeah, I best not forget my stepmum. She comes along and she makes the brews, and I know she'd be shouting at me if I don't thank her for that. And letting my dad spend all of his time doing this thing. Like I say, it takes up a lot of time, and she's usually grand. She sometimes has a dicky fit like all women do, but
Whoa, you can say that. I'm not.
But without everyone, like I say, everyone that we thanked previously, we wouldn't be out on track. So
brilliant. Yeah, excellent, brilliant. Well, thank you very much. Do appreciate it. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody now on the Facebook. This will be on Stocksnet later on tonight as well, and on the YouTube and the usual places. So I hope everyone has a good Christmas and New Year, and we will be speaking to someone in the middle of January, so keep a lookout on the Facebook page for the announcements of when they will be, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you.